Hey guys.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Welcome to the first episode of What You Saying. Would you like to explain why we've called it What You
Oh my
Saying?
god, I would love to, Grace. So hi everybody, my name is Enzo Talenti. I'm in year 12. My pathway is craft and my pronouns are he, she, and any other. So we called it What You Saying because it's kind of it's the question we're kind of all asking ourselves in a way nowadays. It's kind of like we wanted to pick something that made sense to us because we don't know what we're saying. We're just trying to, which is kind of the whole point of this podcast. We're just trying to find a way to help. We're just trying to find a way. So when you ask us what we're saying, we say we don't know because we're just trying to help. Hope that makes sense.
I love that.
Thank you.
My name is Sikity. My pronouns are she, her. Would you like to continue?
I'm Cara Stevens, and my pronouns also she, her.
I'm Ray, and my pronouns are they, them.
So, on our first episode, we're going to be addressing representation in film and how in film we are going to be talking about the way they represent identity and sexuality in a lot of films. So, guys, starting off, are there any films that you believe and or shows that have good representation?
Good representation?
Good representation. You've got to start off with a positive.
Positives,
Yeah,
Start on a
positives
good note.
first.
Good news first.
I would start off with Moonlight.
Please do.
I love guys.
I know.
I can go off
I
with
know.
Moonlight.
Trust me.
Moonlight
We
is
know.
so amazing. Everything about it, the whole representation of a black man and how sometimes some black men can't be vulnerable and talk about how they're gay and like
Yeah.
in the movie, you would think that it will become like all positive, like how a lot of films will show, okay, you're gay and now the whole world is going to accept you. No,
Yeah.
that's not reality. And in the end of the film, spoiler alert, guys, spoiler
Skip to
alert.
minute 5. Skip to minute 5.
Don't
3
skip.
seconds in.
Don't skip. We need the watch time. Don't skip.
Because
Lord.
in the end, he still like kind of hides his identity, even though he goes back to his first romantic partner,
Yeah.
quote unquote partner. But he's still in the end, he doesn't really accept himself. He like becomes this black man identity, a thug, strong, and all of that, which is like, sadly, that's the true identity of what happens to people in the world, you know. So I think Moonlight and the cinematography, guys, I'm in camera lighting. If you can't tell, the lighting in Moonlight, gosh. It's so amazing. But anything that you guys?
I guess I'll go. I would definitely say Pose. Like while you were talking, I was thinking more about like queer representation. Oh, I see one of the crows agreeing with me. Because it's a great show. It really is. I think it might be like kind of obvious to say that, but it's one of the few good ones we got, honestly. I think it showed like trans people in so many different layers. Like it didn't provide such a binary view on anything, really. And every season just brought like, it just furthered that even more without making anybody feel like a cliche, anybody feel like a stereotype, no caricatures, no nothing, just people trying to live their lives. And they did something that I love, which is they didn't make their identity be the driving plot of the show. They have aspirations, they have dreams, they have goals, and they just happen to be trans people of color, they happen to be queer people of color. And it was just lovely, and the actors are just all beautiful supermodels and all that, so I loved it.
Adding on to what you're saying, I recently started watching Pose. The first episode where like the theme is like royalty.
Yes.
Gosh, guys, you should watch it.
Mother
It's
Electra.
so.
Where can you watch it on?
Where did I watch it on?
BBC iPlayer.
Yes.
BBC iPlayer. That's what I watched it on.
Netflix also has it. Oh,
Is it?
yeah, and also this is a really good thing to know. The last season is available on YouTube. It's the type of situation where because you know when you go on YouTube to find like those weird episodes.
Yeah.
Episode type stuff like episode 2, part 5. But it was worth it. It's always worth it for Pose. But yeah.
Moving for you.
I actually love how like authentic Pose is. Like it's one of the only shows that cast people who are genuinely trans. Like so many other shows are so behind on doing this. They cast people who are straight to play other roles, which I just think is like, it gives a false sense of trust in what you're watching because you want to see portrayal of real things. You want to see like, say you are trans and you're looking at someone who's pretending to be trans. How is that supposed to make you feel like like, you know, yourself. Like, how are you supposed to look at that and be like, this is who I am, when someone's doing like a facade in a way? So I think Pose is like really, honestly, like revolutionary in that sense. Like, it's one of the only shows that is so predominantly like representative in people who are not just white as well. Like, it's a story. It's like about life. It's not about just tragedy and loss. It's I think it's amazing. Really good. Progressive as hell.
He's good.
Going back to what you were saying about how they cast like cis people for trans roles. Also, what you were saying earlier, I think the reason why a lot of shows will do that is because they want their films to be based in like this fantasy world where oppression doesn't exist, and they're like, anybody can act as a trans person because we're all equal and all that stuff. And people are kind of going the wrong way about equality. They just want to pretend like marginalization doesn't exist like at all, which I don't feel like is a right way to go about it. Like, you can portray minorities and show that they are minorities, but still give them a story beyond that. They don't have to be like oppressed the entire movie, but you can still show that they're going through something different. You know what I mean?
I really hate like you're saying, like, I really dislike it because it's just creating this like whole persona of like, life can be good, guys. Yeah, you're not gonna get like hate crimes when you go outside.
It's so unauthentic and
everyone's
unrealistic.
perfect. Like, no, it's not. No one's perfect.
Yeah.
One, but there's a lot of horrible people in the world, and it's the fact that like sometimes they make as if like these people who will like literally say slurs to you and call you out and like basically shame you for being your true self don't exist.
Yeah, they act like, oh, this is like a very small majority like minority. Nobody does that anymore, guys. We're all woke, we're all like aware, which it's not.
It's a thing. It's a thing. It exists.
I mean, if I could just be honest at the gig here, I really didn't appreciate Sex Education's plotline. Like, the whole Eric and Adam.
Adam.
This whole plot line of homophobic bully, and they get into detention, and all of a sudden they fall in love with somebody who literally for the whole of season 1. I don't like that idea. I don't like that idea.
It's a little bit of Stockholm syndrome, like
it's very Stockholm syndrome.
You know, there's like plot lines of like they hate each other, but they're stuck in a room for a couple of hours and they fall in. I don't like those shows. I don't like them.
No, I don't like it because it was just like Adam was already homophobic.
Yes.
He was homophobic, period. He was homophobic. And then he hated on Eric.
Right.
Eric was trying to like be himself, and especially like coming out in school and like trying to be himself, you know, which is a very hard thing to do.
Very difficult.
And then Adam
pulls him down, literally tears him down every single time. And then what? Adam like lipses him.
And somehow a sex scene just ensues, like out of the blue, like you just forgot he wanted to kill you like an hour ago.
No, literally.
I don't understand.
I don't like that. I don't like that trope. The little bully then lovers trope.
Because I think the plot line is meant to be like, oh yeah, bullies are just hurting inside and they are angry at someone else because they can't be like that person. Which is just like, stop.
No.
How about you stop? How about you stop doing that?
Because it's just like,
what if the bully was just a bully to be a bully?
True.
Think about that.
That could be a
what if
thing.
there was no motivation? They were just a bully. You know?
No, because it's just like, wow, you're taking it out on people. Yeah, like you're taking it out on people. I understand that like a lot of people would say Adam in the last season, because I watched the guys. I won't lie. I watched it, and in the last season you do end up liking Adam because he changes as a person. You know, it's like still this character development, but like with me, I always think about how he used to be like, and the fact that like he was very aggressive to Eric, and I was like, imagine how that felt to Eric as a person. You know,
right?
Exactly.
Be himself, like I literally said, he's trying to be himself, and Adam's tearing him down every day. Like, you're gay. Oh my gosh, I hate you. You're gay. What? You just kissed him? What are you talking about?
It's pushing this sort of really ugly narrative, and a lot of shows do this with other ones. Like, it's pushing a narrative of like excusing problematic behavior. And it doesn't just affect queer people. I can only imagine how much it affects women when we do get those. I mean, like the nice guy trope is another example of that. Although it might not feel like it, a lot of shows are now being called out on that. And you is an example of just proving the nice guy trope wrong. So it's just all these different narratives are pushing they're not realizing just how negative the impact is in real life. Because there are real statistics that prove just how bad it is.
I feel like going back to you,
I watched that as well, guys. Come on. I'm a Netflix babe. Anywho, with you, Joe is immediately perceived as the nice guy. He always says it as we are following his like perspective. You know, he's like, he's the nice guy. He goes to the bookstore. He's like, you know, he's a nice little quirky guy. Just wears a little cute hat. Goes on walks late night. Not stalking someone. Anywho.
Yeah.
But, and it's like, now, like you were talking about, it's just like, why are we accepting those nice guy tropes and that really that nice guy is a terrifying person who's actually a predator? Like, he can actually, like, I'm probably using the term predator wrong, but
No,
just
but
very, like-
spoiler alert, he murdered someone.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
we're doing spoilers.
I think we all knew that.
It was minute 25.
Spoiler alert if you haven't watched season 1. He does murder a
He
girl.
does murder a lot of people.
He does murder someone.
he
And
really
then
does.
later on, it's like, oh my gosh, Joe.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, Joe. Like, no, you shouldn't really be accepting things
What
like
do you
that.
mean?
Yeah. But then in the show, you don't notice. No one notices that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's done on purpose. Because obviously you're following his perspective. You're
Yeah.
meant to root for him. Like, he's your protagonist.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
there's very rare amount of people who are like, oh, I hate Joe, because you're meant to like him.
Yeah.
The people that made the show were really good with that. Big up to the makers of You.
Big up to the
Absolutely.
makers of
Thank
You.
you. Please
Guys,
come check us out.
You reached
need
your
a
target
runner.
audience.
If you need a runner, guys,
Oh, literally. I'm not 18, but please just hire me for anything.
Literally
I
hire
can
us for
bark. Yeah. Is
I'll
there
come to
any,
the table read, you know.
are there any
Table read.
like shows or movies where you notice like any similar narratives or like problematic sort of tropes?
I think there's like going back to like sex education.
It's okay.
Like, I think, yeah, like you said, like the nice guy trope is incredibly toxic. Like, it gives the idea, like, because they're being nice, that the people that they're going for owe them something, and that it, like, you know, justifies any negative behavior that they like invest in with that person. Like, for example, like Otis in Sex Education, I do not like his character. Like, I even think towards the end he becomes slightly redeemable, but he is just one of those characters who keeps pushing and pushing and pushing because he's so desperate to not be like a bad guy. He's actually becoming that person because he's being incredibly selfish, because that's his only like motivation, is to not be this bad guy, but he's just not really being considerate of anyone else around him, or like how it's making anyone else feel. Like Maeve and his like obsession with her, and it's like he's actually a terrible guy to her. He's a terrible guy.
Yeah, when you really think about it, like,
He's even
what does he bring to the table?
Nothing.
Oh my God. Real talk. I want you to ask yourself, what does he bring to the table?
Honestly.
Quickly. Give me one thing. Give me one thing he brings to the table. Quickly.
Straight white male. Straight white male.
His mum.
I mean,
His mum.
His mum.
Table.
Jean.
we love her. Love
We
her.
love her.
Jean. Emma Thompson. Iconic.
No, but let's talk about the non-binary character that was in season 3. Season 3?
Right, yeah.
Season 3 or 4?
Yes.
Season 3.
Season
Three.
of Sex Education. I'm not non-binary, so I can't really speak too much about it, but like I thought the portrayal of them was really good, and especially like highlighting spoiler alerts, guys. Spoiler alerts.
Oh fuck! How many minutes are we skipping here, bro? Honestly, this is getting too
There'll be a
much.
timestamps in the comments down below.
Spoilers
like-
podcast and
If you're
stuff.
watching on Spotify, I'm sorry.
But like the representation of, do you guys remember the character's name? I can't remember.
Oh
the name.
bless her. She was American, wasn't
Them.
she? They were. Oh my god.
Them.
Call you
Yeah,
slipping.
they.
Call you slipping.
I caught myself slipping. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay. But I feel like they were represented really good, especially when it came to the character Jackson, who had a lot of
Yes.
attraction
Yeah.
to them.
Yeah.
And they're just the fact that Jackson would always perceive them as a girl, which
Right.
Yeah.
they weren't that, you know. And I feel like that was a really good thing, because Jackson, instead of like being like, well, oh, but you are, da da da, no, he said that yes, that is the truth, and like I can accept that I will probably make that mistake, and I'm glad that that happened. A lot of people would be like, oh, I wish they went together, da da da, but like I feel like that's just like small things of reality, like that's just a small bit of reality that would
That was
actually
really
happen,
point
you
of
know.
it.
Like the thing that about how a lot of non-binary people will still always be perceived as the thing that people believe that they are, which that's not what they are, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like that bit in Sex Education. That's one thing I really did like.
Going back to the positive representation, because I never said my one.
Go.
With the non-binary character I think was represented really well was Double Trouble from Shira.
Ooh, Double Trouble. I like that
This
name.
is a power. It's on Netflix, guys. Go watch it. It's amazing.
My sister
It's
loves
5
it.
seasons long. It's the best series I've ever seen in my entire life.
Mm.
I think I love Shira so much because of, like we talked about earlier, about characters having their identities not be like the main thing of the plot.
Yes.
Like Shira was like, there was a whole war going on. Like they weren't focused on the fact that there was like a gay couple. Like that wasn't their one priority. There was like so much going on. The story was so complex. The villains were so complex as well. Like they had backstories and stuff. And with Double Trouble, one thing I liked about Shira was, I feel like a lot of kids shows, when they have characters that are non-binary, characters that are gay, they like explain it and like give a label like this character, and they like explain it. But with Shira, they didn't. The character just showed up and everyone was like they. You know what? It was just like instant, because the character was like a shapeshifter, and their power was they could turn themselves into literally anyone and imitate anyone. So it also fit the role of the character that they were non-binary, because they just turned into anyone, and every character in the show respected that. It wasn't anything that was questioned. Like the reason why people didn't like the character was because the character was like an antagonist, not because the character was non-binary. You know what I mean? And with other characters in Shira, it was just really lovely. Like there was a married like couple of princesses were really cute. Two of the main characters were bi and they were in a relationship. The protagonist is a lesbian. Like there was so much representation in it. There was so many like people of color in it as well, which I think is really good, especially because Shira was based on like a comic from like 1990 something, like 90 something, a really old comic actually. If you go look up like Shira, like the old one, like the He-Man and Shira comics,
there we go.
They're all like adults and they're like built like really weird, and they're all like white. And then whoever produced the DreamWorks one was like, yeah, forget about it. They're all black now. Like, sorry guys, they're all gay. What are you gonna do about it?
Another animation that has quite good representation. Steven Universe, guys. Another film I'll always take to the death with me. Steven Universe is amazing with all my heart. Talking about like a married couple, there's this one character named Garnet.
Oh yeah.
Love Garnet. Guys. Garnet has a heart, has a place in my heart. But in the character Garnet, they're like a married couple. They were like with each other for a really long time. Like with similar to Shira, there's like a war happening, and they don't really talk about like how they identify or anything like that. They're just like, okay, a lot of these people are non-binary women. Let's keep it stepping. Like that's it. Like that's just happening.
They didn't explain. They were just like,
They're like, oh yeah, guys, a war's happening. Like it doesn't matter. Literally, it made it. It's the fact that like simple kids shows make it much more easier to address it.
Because it's like but I also feel like, because you know how they explain it in kids shows where it's like, you know, some people they feel this way about their gender and blah blah blah. I feel like you don't need to tell kids that, because kids are at such an age where they haven't been bombarded with stereotypes like we have. Those are things you need to tell adults, because adults have lived their entire life not knowing that. Whereas if you tell a kid, oh, I'm not a boy, I'm not a girl, they're gonna be like, cool, give me a sandwich. Like
literally, kids keep it stepping.
They're literally just chilling. Okay. They just want to do their coloring books and go. They literally don't care. You don't need to explain it to kids like that. And people are like, you know, how are we gonna tell the kid? How are we gonna break it to them? How are we gonna tell the kids? The kids don't care. They couldn't care less. It's so easy to educate kids, because then they will just tell their peers like, oh yeah, by the way, this is what's going on. Like I saw a TikTok of this non-binary teacher teaches at an elementary school, and everyone refers to them as like they them, and they instead of calling them like they call them like teacher, their name.
I've seen that TikTok.
Have you seen them?
I've seen them.
And everyone is like so nice and so respectful, and it's like it's a really good environment, which I feel like a lot of schools are coming closer to terms with now, but it's definitely going to take a while.
Because I feel like, sorry to interrupt you, but I feel like with kids, it's like you said, it's just they're young. They don't know anything, right?
Yeah.
So you can teach them the basic things of like, okay, so there's some people who just go with they, them pronouns. There's some people who go she, her, he, him, any pronouns, you know? And it's simple things that you can tell a child, because they'll just be like, okay, that's how the world goes. That's how it's running.
They're trying to like build their perception of the world. Like if you tell them you can't fly, their brain's like, okay, cool, I can't fly. You know what I mean? You could tell a kid like you can walk on the ceilings, and they will believe you. Yeah. And they will try to walk on the ceiling. Like they're so impressionable. But that can also be used to educate them. And you find in some situations kids are educating their own parents.
Yes.
Yes.
I love to see those.
Yes.
I love to see those.
But I just feel like kids are kids. They can just learn as they go. And I feel like highlighting what you said of how you need to teach like older people more like adults, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like watching these like kids shows of Shira and Steven Universe, it still educates a person, because they're gonna see it and they're gonna be like, oh, this is a kid show, I don't need to watch it. it's helping you out, guys.
Yeah.
It's educating you guys. Like, it's helping
Exactly.
you with a lot of things, you know. And I just feel like just showing people about it, it helps and it highlights a lot of things, you know. But are there anything with bad representation if we have
Oof.
Yes.
Any more bad
Yes.
representation?
Lot.
I think
lot.
a lot. Yeah, I think, you know what, I think we all catch ourselves like embedded with all of them as we grow up. Do you know what I mean? We are the products of our society. Do you know what I mean?
Ooh, I like that.
And yeah, do you know what I mean? So
Products
it's
of our
like
environment.
with everything we see, all of it, even when you think it's the most insignificant, because a lot of people I think don't realize truly how much we're actually taking in. Everybody's taking in,
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially children, like you guys said. We don't realize that, and then that's those simple things. Once they're put into an idea, they're labeled, and it's tough for people to kind of take the label off and kind of say, no, this is not how we do it. That's not how we're doing it anymore, babes.
Yeah.
It's not the 1800s. And you do have to, like, you find yourself that, because I feel like maybe humans are just like really addicted to labeling things as well, like to making sure everything's clear and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We
Do you
need
know what I mean?
reasoning. Like, we're so hungry for like need, like to know why things are the way they are.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And so once one idea is put out, bam, that's how it grows.
Yeah.
Because that's how tropes start. That's how stereotypes started. Because you grab one idea, you run with it, you let it what's the word? You let it marinate for a couple of centuries, and you got white supremacy, honey. You got racism. Do you know what I mean?
It's a cycle. It's like we make films that imitate our lives, and then after a while, the films start to imitate us. We start trying to copy off of films. You know what I mean? Because even as a kid, your only other perception of like humans outside of your like, immediate environment is the internet. It's media. So when you see things on films, that's like boys are doing this, girls are doing this. It comes back to you. It's like it becomes like instead of like being a reflection of our culture, it's now limiting our culture, because it's now like you could only do what you see on screen. If not, like it's never been done before, it's never been seen before. Like a lot of these things are like new to people because they haven't seen them in the media. Whereas like transness didn't come up like last year. Like people have been trans for time. People have been non-binary for time. It's just either it's not been in like mainstream like Western culture, so people think it's like this new thing that came out of nowhere, but really like people have been out here for years, like for time. It just hasn't been in the media.
Exactly.
Because the people at the time, they censor what they show to the public. There was a time where you wouldn't see black people in films. Then they like times you would see black people in films like blackface. You know what I mean?
Oh my
minstrel show.
Because they were controlling what the people saw. They wanted to push a certain identity in a certain like agenda. It was very like political.
There you go. I mean, do you know of any like? I mean, of course you do. Of any like a negative, just negative anything happening on TV?
I mean, I actually feel like very strongly towards like Quentin Tarantino. There's like a lot of love towards him, and I think people are kind of like blindsided by the art of his work to not see like how some of the stuff that he makes is actually incredibly offensive. Take Reservoir Dogs, for example. Like, I think his work is really good. Reservoir Dogs. Quentin Tarantino puts himself in the film just to say the N-word, for example. And it's a very, like, macho, like, toxic masculinity. Like, it's a great film, but if you look at the details of it, some of it is just really weird. Like, the only woman in the entire film is a waitress, which they objectify at the start. And that's it. This is a single woman in the whole film. And it's like, I know there are other films with lots of women in, and there are lots of films of, you know, a range of different stereotypes. But if you're like looking at this film in particular, and the predominant energy is just like angry men wanting to like have conflict and stuff, and then women and people of color or anything like that, they're just like objects to like push forward that narrative. It's just like incredibly undermining. Like, and yeah, I just feel like Quentin Tarantino, with the power that he has, he could use it a lot better than just to say the N-word.
I feel like there's a lot of like people who are in high places, actually like directors, producers, who have the power to like produce some things where it's like it's actually addressing like issues that are happening in the world, and like guys, let's normalize these things that are like people are making problems of, calling it like it's negative things, right? But really, I feel as if they should just use the power that they have and the platform that they have. They can talk to a wide range of people instead of just like singling out one person. Like talking about how you said how there was that one film where they literally assaulted a woman. There was only one woman,
Yeah.
and they assaulted
She was assaulted.
straight off the bat. Like,
Right.
whoa, guys, I just met
Was
you.
it
Like,
really
what's
necessary?
happening? Like, I just met you.
But
What's
I think
happening?
the reason is because like they just don't care. They just
Exactly,
don't give a fuck.
exactly,
Like, they just
exactly.
couldn't be. Because I know a lot of the, because of like how now social media is kind of like a hierarchy of like these people have a big platform, they use their platform to do stuff. A lot of time you have to look at it and be like, they didn't start their platform off of that, so why would they start doing it once they have the platform? They don't have to. Like they don't like, they really don't have to. And it's also a thing of if they did start doing those stuff, people would easily tell that it was ingenuine and it would just go wrong. Like I don't believe that because people have a platform in like the film industry that they can accurately portray certain like minorities unless they have those minorities helping them make those things. Unless they want to, if you don't know how to write a black woman as a character without using stereotypes, get a black woman to help you with the script. It's that simple. Get an actress to help you with this stuff, but they won't do that. They won't. They just won't do that.
I think on a. Oh, did you want to say something?
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna add on to like your two previous points. Honestly, just to like you mentioned the Reservoir Dogs, which was an amazing example. My other example would have been like Kill Bill with the schoolgirl. Schoolgirl stereotype.
The schoolgirl
chain,
stereotype.
fringe, bang. I mean, she looked iconic, but it was incredibly offensive.
Yeah, no, very, very
Like so
offensive, very
deeply
offensive.
problematic and just reinforcing that whole. Just like the sexualization.
Yeah, sexualization of
girls,
like girls.
sexualization
Yeah.
of Asian women. It's like,
especially.
oh, but it was just
Absolutely.
layers on layers on
Yeah,
layers of
yeah.
it was an offensive sandwich.
Yeah,
It
no.
was,
It was a meal.
it was a racist,
It was a meal. It was an offensive
it was a
meal.
racist
buffet.
baguette.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was so horrible. And it was just ridiculous because you know what? His films are he's so deeply talented and that's why it hurts more.
Yeah.
Because he's good at what he does. So he knows he doesn't have to do it like this, but he wants to do it like that. And I remember he once said, this was just a quote of his, like where he talked about how, you know, he likes to, when he's doing a film, he wants to bring the whole world in. So that's why when I think of Reservoir Dogs, he really wanted to show that macho environment.
Yeah.
But it's like, and that's a great idea. I think, do you know what? Go for it. Really bring us into that horrible, horrible world. Oh my God, man. Is there not another way? Like, is there not?
Yeah.
Come on. Just to come and say the N-word, like, what is wrong?
Yeah, it didn't really add anything.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really
exactly.
as nothing
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
plot. It's like,
What is the point?
If it's
Like,
not giving, scrap it.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Maia.
don't get it. Ugh.
There's like some films where I've watched where they'll sometimes just show like a naked woman and it'll just be thrown in there.
Yeah.
Oh my
just,
God.
just randomly,
like
Yeah.
randomly,
little bit of
literally
nudity.
shooting.
Yeah.
Someone could be robbing a bank, and out of
Right.
nowhere, it, like the shot pans all the way to a window, and a woman's naked.
Yeah.
Where is she? Is she like the mastermind of it? Like, what's happening? Like, why is she there? You know?
Yeah.
And it's just simple things where it's just like adding on to everything like you guys were saying. It's just like they just add these things randomly. They just want to put everything in there. Oh yeah, I'll just put a naked woman. Why you put?
What
It
was
doesn't
the
add to the
point?
plot.
Yeah, what?
It doesn't add to
it's
the
like, guys, I
plot.
thought the plot was about medicine. Like, what?
I
Right, no,
thought-
literally.
I
Guys,
actually thought
I
about
thought
Oh my
I thought we were
gosh.
like taking the dog on a walk. With a naked woman in the park. What's going on,
No.
guys? This wasn't in the trailer, guys. What's going on? They just like use people as props. Just like throw them in
Oh,
there
literally use
for
them as props, yeah.
comedic effect. But it's like, why is all of your comedy just taking the piss out of other people?
Yeah.
Oh my God, could I like reference a film? Even thinking about it right now, my brain is exhausted thinking about it. My brain's like running a marathon. It's such a terrible, terrible film. Like, you want to talk about terrible cinematic? You want to talk about a terrible cinematic? Oh my Lord. There was this film back in 2018. It was a different time for all of
dark
us.
year.
It was
A
a
dark year.
pre-corona.
It was a dark year for
Pre-corona,
them.
Trump
Pre-corona.
era.
Scary.
Like, oh Lord, we were just all down in the gutter,
It
weren't
was a
we?
dark time
But
for us all.
yeah, and to pile on the dump that was 2018, they had to bring in a film that was called, oh Lord, and they even used like a typical ghetto name. I'm not saying it's ghetto, I'm just saying that's what they reference it as. Like the typical ghetto names like Loquisha or Shaniqua. That's the title of the film. That's already the title of the film.
It's called Shaniqua.
Made, written. When I say directed, written, edited by a white man. When I say that, oh Lord.
Wait. So you're
this
telling
is
me
a legitimate
someone
film.
someone looked at the script. They were like, okay, you've named your film Shaniqua, very nice. I'm gonna give you money.
Yeah.
To
And
make
do you
this.
know what is?
No, I'm gonna give you money to make this film. I'm gonna let you distribute it.
Yes.
I'm gonna give you the green light.
Yes. And you
In
know what?
2018.
Right.
So who gave it? Who's the producer?
No, I don't
Who's
even
the
know.
producer?
It was probably him as well. It was probably him as well. Because he knew Warner Brothers could not already add on to what they were already doing. So it was just a terrible film. And basically, here's the plot. So he plays a down on his luck radio person. And he basically, one day, somehow stumbles upon doing a black woman's voice. And so he literally, the whole film is him finding luck in his career, finding love somehow. Like the whole thing because he's using this black woman's voice on the radio. And her name is Shaniqua. And so he's literally, that's the whole film.
So he's profiting off of
It's
doing a
vocal
black sim.
blackface. It's vocal, it's all
He's profiting off of doing a black sim, basically.
literally the whole point of the film. And somehow he like finds love and like because apparently like the love interest is really interested in Shaniqua. I don't get it.
Where did you watch the
No,
film on?
literally that was my
Is it on
question of
Netflix?
today. My question of today.
Where did you watch this? It's on Amazon Prime.
One, why? Why did you watch it?
What was on BBC
I
iPlayer?
watched the trailer.
The
I watched
trailer-
This was the one the trailer was talking about. This
Oh.
was just the trailer.
Just you had us thinking you watched the whole film.
Yeah, no, really. I was thinking you watched the whole thing. I was like, I was like, Enzo.
What's your history looking like?
No. I even forget how I said what I put it, but please do go check it out because sometimes because when I tell people like they genuinely don't think I'm serious, I swear look it up.
No, I
because
literally
it's
think you're lying
insane.
straight to my face.
Oh my god!
I think you're spreading rumors.
Are you a compulsive liar, Enzo?
Listen, in the YouTube video, we're gonna
Are you
drop a
living in a
link.
false paradise?
Okay, we're gonna show you a link of the film because it was just insane, and that is just like worst case scenario.
Worst
You know,
case.
Worst case scenario. The best
Imagine the films that haven't even been produced. Like imagine like
wow.
the ones that have just been proposed.
Did you hear that Julia Roberts was meant to play Harriet Tubman
No, I didn't.
for
hear
the
that.
Harriet film?
I didn't hear that.
Yeah. For like that's just an example of like what could have been done.
Mm-hmm.
One of the producers wanted Julia Roberts, Erin Brockovich. What's her other film? What's the other film where she's a stripper? Julia Roberts. She's with Hugh Grant. Anyway, that Julia Roberts. No, not Hollywood.
Notting Hill.
Julia Roberts. Point is Julia Roberts was meant to play Harriet Tubman. Yeah. Which is insane. So yeah, I just thought I'd say that. That's okay. Because that's just an example of just how twisted it can be. Yeah, Pretty Woman. That was it. Was.
Yeah, that is not Hugh Grant. That is not Hugh Grant.
Oh no. I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting off topic. I'm taking people on a rant. Yeah.
Okay, so should we round up by why we wanted to start the podcast and
Yeah, sure.
all that stuff?
Sure.
Should we go around?
So me?
Yeah, go on.
Okay.
Go on.
So guys, why did we want to start the podcast? Guys, come on. You think you're living in an equal world? No. We need to
This is
talk
inequality
about it.
street.
We need to address
Saying.
the topics that
Yeah.
are happening in our world. If we don't address it, then we're being silly. We're just being like we're helping the issue to continue.
Yeah.
We're not allowing it to actually be addressed and actually fully understanding that there are issues happening in this world. And if we don't address it, it's just gonna continue and
Yeah.
we're just gonna like be hidden in the dark.
Yeah.
You know? If you get what I'm saying. But yeah, that's like the main reason why I would want to like start the podcast and like why we're all here for me personally. But
Absolutely.
what about you?
Oh yeah, no. I think you really answered all of it. I'm gonna be short now because I've talked a lot. But I would absolutely say the same thing. I think this podcast is really gonna help like bring issues and kind of be able to talk about it in a lighthearted way as well.
Yeah.
Because you know what, the world's already terrible enough as it is, and I think when we discuss those issues in the way we've been discussing it this episode, when we do this, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun tackling racism, tackling all the issues of this.
Ending all the
and
issues
poverty.
single-handedly. Just
And just
fix-
like that.
Yeah.
We're
just
gonna
fixing,
end
just
all
fixing
oppression.
inequality, guys.
One joke at a time.
Yeah.
I think it's really important that we like challenge any perspectives that people have, like even in like unbiased response.
Yeah,
like people
yeah.
have be frustrated towards certain views, or people will be like accepting of them. And I think it's important that we approach it from an unbiased perspective to try and like level out and just have like a voice that can show that, you know, we can investigate these issues, understand why people believe the way they do, like towards those things. And yeah, that's kind of fundamental.
To end off, I'm just excited to like see all the guests and see what other people in the school have to say, and like have actual like discussions, bit of debate here and there. But I hope that this goes well. I think it's going. I think this is like the right way to approach it. It's progressive. Hopefully, we'll fix gender. So that'll be great. Let's fix gender.
Thank you for tuning into this episode, guys.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
That was.
What are you saying? Come on. Yes.